Hey, everybody, Off the Mic Sports Network, another edition of Off the Top Rope. We've been reacting a lot to WrestleMania, and, a lot of the lasting impact and the lasting takeaways are going to be felt for a while. We've really been on this journey for a couple years with The Rock inserting himself, and then it seemingly, as I've talked about in this video, I think some of this was a receipt for last year's WrestleMania 40, situation that played out WWE did a documentary, and I was like, man, I don't know if that's how The Rock really felt. His ego kind of took a hit. But one thing that has not been discussed nearly enough, because we focused on, like, the power struggle, and we focused on him not being involved in the story that he helped start. But by extension of that, The Rock has subsequently screwed up maybe one of the biggest storylines that WWE could have ever done. Because let's think about this. The lasting impact of the John Cena heel turn, the Elimination Chamber, that moment was epic. It was amazing. With, Cody saying, go fuck yourself to The Rock, and then getting dick kicked like a minute and a half later. It was unbelievable. Like, my reaction was like everybody else. It was an amazing, amazing moment. But don't you think that now, based off all the timeline of events that we have uncovered, and we have, looked back on all the stuff that The Rock didn't do, the stuff that The Rock did do, him saying that he didn't need to be involved in that conclusion to main event. Don't you think that if in the main event of WrestleMania 41, no Rock, no Travis Scott, it's just John Cena and Cody Rhodes, babyface to babyface, and you just had the traditional build, maybe John Cena showing some heel adjacent tactics, which he was showing at Royal Rumble. He basically just said, hey, I'm putting myself in the Elimination Chamber because I've done that. And don't you think that if all that stuff had happened, no Rock insertion, and based off everything that we have known, that this would have felt that everything that we saw on Monday night following that, we didn't have the John Cena black entrance. I mean, yeah, it was admittedly fun for him to see that, but had all that happened after WrestleMania, and he had turned in the main event of WrestleMania 41, his final WrestleMania, that would have felt like the most iconic moment it could possibly be. Absolutely. So by extension of what happened with all of this, and don't believe any of the PR spin that Dwayne has been doing, Rock wanted to be there. He wanted to be involved in WrestleMania. This wasn't about ticket sales. Like, they were selling 30,000 tickets in a baseball stadium for Elimination Chamber. Don't give me that crap. Also, don't charge your fan base an arm and a leg to go to these events. Like, it's become way too corporate. That's the reason why some of your ticket sales, like, you're still making a ton of money, which is great to trumpet that out. But part of the reason why you're not filling up the stadium is because you're charging. And I get it's economics, it's supply and demand, but you're charging shit. So don't give me that shit from Ari Emanuel. The Rock wanted to be there. He wanted his shine. He wanted to, try and turn Cody Rhodes heel, which we've talked about. And with all of this going on, nothing has been really mentioned about this. And yet it will still be a fun ride with John Cena being the heel and healing up on people. But the aura and like the way that this could have been done would have been so much better if we didn't do this at Elimination Chamber. And so by that extension, The Rock ruined maybe one of the biggest heel turns of all time. Okay? Like, it's not going to ever be as big as Hulk Hogan, but now I think, that moment, as great as it was, has been kind of undermined by the whole, like, yeah, why was The Rock there? Because, like, if you're going to do that, you have to have Rock involved in this. Otherwise, just have John Cena turn, no help, no bullshit. Because then why the fuck was Travis Scott there? Like, none of this really lines up in his piece together. So, yeah, he may have tried to intentionally ruin WrestleMania because of, like, all of his pettiness, because he's a smart guy. The guy's done enough creative in his career. I mean, he's been in movies. He's been in wrestling for, like, his entire life. Like, don't give me that. But one thing and maybe this, I doubt this was by design, because him and John get along really well after their WrestleMania feud, even though that was a real thing. He really screwed this up for John, because this is still going to be a great run. I still think they can make a ton of money off of it. But the effect of what could have been is still in my mind ever since Sunday, because what we got in the main event was horrible. And thinking of what we could have got without The Rock's involvement and not having to think that he was going to show up for 6 weeks and didn't do anything to help the storyline, And then it's just a rapper whose music had been blaring in our ears for 9 months, who's one of the most streamed artists in the world. I understand that, but he's got all the problems around him, and you still bring him out. He takes a day and a half to get to the ring. Like, look, he doesn't have anything to. Travis Scott has nothing to offer WWE. At least Bad Bunny, for being a streamed artist, has something to offer WWE. I'm not saying Bad Bunny should have been involved in this too, but maybe Bad Bunny, gets involved with Travis Scott. Like, if you're gonna ham up and you're gonna just screw up the main event of WrestleMania and make it like just a friggin' like overbooked nonsensical finish of a match, and not have The Rock there, it's like at least you got to do more than Travis Scott, and that's I think what everybody's issue is with the whole part of this. But then, like, by extension, it's like, why do the soul thing with Cody with your intent, and then Cody just tells you to fuck off, and then you turn on him, you do this violent, vicious heel turn, and then there's no follow up to it. You were almost better off with The Rock not inserting himself into this, and like maybe that part of it wasn't intentional, because I think big picture, like I think he truly believes that he wanted it to be about John Cena. But if you really wanted to fully make it about John Cena, you should have inserted yourself at all. And that heel turn should have happened at WrestleMania. And we may never know if that was really the plan. Dave Meltzer may have actually gotten something right for a change, because that had been reported. And Brian Gewirtz and Rock were all saying Meltzer doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He might have known what the fuck he was talking about. And it's just, I hate this for John, because this is his final year. And yes, as epic as that heel turn and that icy stare that we got from him at Elimination Chamber, it would have been so much more epic if the first time we ever see him with that title and, being that evil face, and then that makes you want to tune into WrestleMania the night after. Like, you haven't been seeing this heel adjacent character for so long. You could have these guys love each other up. And then in the biggest spot of all time, Cody loses to John Cena, because it's just the way that match was structured, the way that it was. It's almost like they were planning on to turn him heel, and Rock came in and screwed it up because he wanted to be involved. And that part of it is like, okay, fine, it's The Rock. But also, I think part of this whole storyline is also that I think he wanted to screw it to WWE. But by extension, he also screwed John Cena, a guy he claims to respect. And, you can never have that's the frustrating part about this whole thing, is that you can't redo this. And on the biggest stage that wrestling has to offer, in the main event, what do I always say? For all you guys who have been with me since the beginning, I always say you're only as good as your main event. And I said this about the last 2 AEW pay-per-views, and I'm saying it here about this one. They missed it here. They missed the mark completely, because there was a story there to be told. You had it set off at Royal Rumble. Like, Rock didn't need to be there. And, based off the fact that he said, hey, my work is done, it's like, why did that insertion need to happen? And it screwed up the follow-up to one of the great heel turns that we've ever seen in this business. And it's like, listen, John Cena still turning heel is going to be an iconic moment in the history. But, like, and they could maybe rewrite it with some of the stuff that they're going to do on this final run, this final year. But it's like, I feel like all of this would have been so much more impactful if they would have just waited, and they would have done it in the main event of WrestleMania 41. He wins the championship, subsequently turning heel, doing stuff that we've never seen him do, not just in a post-match end of the show angle at Elimination Chamber, as great as it was. And, that's all the doing of The Rock, and that's all the doing of TKO, and that's them, inserting themselves. And this is what's going to create a fascinating dynamic between the wrestling people and the TKO business people, and who's going to win out. And I hate to say it, it doesn't look good for Triple H. I hope he wins out. And I know he's been getting a lot of bad PR lately, but it's just, Rock really just, he stepped in it bad here. And what that interview told me what it was he was trying to distance himself from the mistakes that he made. And again, like, a lot of people are hit and miss on John Cena, but it's just, a lot of reason, I think, why this heel character really hadn't connected is because A, The Rock wasn't there after that heel turn and after that moment at Elimination Chamber, and B, it should have happened at Mania. It should have happened at the big. If you're gonna do something that big and like outside of involving The Rock, you should have at least done it at. You should have done it at the biggest event possible. Not disrespect Elimination Chamber. It just was. It was just a weird choice. So Yeah, that's really where I stand on this whole thing. It sucks, but in the end, it's wrestling. Bad decisions get made. They botched a ton of money with the alliance and the WCW takeover. Like there's been creative missteps, whether it be to politics or whatnot. But it's just like you're only gonna have one last year of John Cena. You're only gonna have the one John Cena heel turn, and this is what we got. I mean, Travis Scott helped him win the 17th World Championship. So it's what it is, man. So thank you for watching. I appreciate you. I will see you guys soon. Bye bye.